Okay, let's dive into this. We're going to break down the single biggest threat to any prop firm out there. And I'll give you a hint. It's not your spreads, it's not your leverage, and it's not your trading platform. It is something so much more dangerous, and it can literally bring your entire business to its knees.
And here it is. It's not the tech. It's not the rules. The biggest threat is one trader, one story, and one single sentence. They didn't pay me. That's it. Everything you have built can start to crumble from that one tiny moment.
The reality is, trust, or a lack of it, spreads like wildfire. It moves way faster than any ad campaign you could ever dream of running. A single viral complaint on social media, it has more weight than millions of dollars you could pour into marketing. You know, right now, prop firms aren't really struggling to get traffic. The ads are working. They're struggling with trust. Because think about it. Every time there's a payout delay or a denied withdrawal, where do those traders go? They go straight to Discord, to Twitter, to Reddit. And suddenly, one post becomes 10, and those 10 posts create this powerful, super destructive story about your firm. This slide right here perfectly illustrates the core misunderstanding. Most firms are so focused on fixing the machine, their operational model, their tech, but the brutal reality is that firms die because the perception of that machine gets completely shattered. Your firm doesn't fail because of what's true, it fails because of what traders believe is true. Now, let's layer this on top of a pretty stark reality. Less than 10% of traders actually pass these challenges. And it's usually not because their strategy is terrible. It's almost always behavioral. We're talking revenge trading, oversizing, letting the pressure just completely destroy their discipline. Most traders, honestly, fail themselves. But here is the psychological trap. They don't see it that way. Most traders already have this nagging feeling that the system is kind of stacked against them. So when a payout gets delayed or denied, even for a totally legitimate reason, it doesn't matter. It just confirms their absolute worst fear. See, I knew it. The whole thing is a setup. So how does a single issue spiral into a full-blown crisis so quickly? Well, let's break down the anatomy of exactly how this trust collapses. It's a fascinating and kind of scary process.
It usually happens in 3 stages. First, traders don't fully get the super complex rules. Things like trailing drawdowns or daily loss limits. So when they're denied, they don't think, oh, I broke a rule. They think, I got cheated. Second, the firms stay silent, thinking the truth will come out. But it doesn't. Silence just looks like guilt. And third, that one viral complaint, whether it's accurate or not, becomes the accepted truth. Game over.
The crucial point, the main takeaway here, is this. You can't wait for a problem to start building trust. It's not built when you process a withdrawal. It's built in all the days, weeks, and months leading up to it. It has to be proactive. It's like trying to buy fire insurance when your house is already on fire.
And this leads us to a really uncomfortable truth. Just fixing your payout operations isn't going to save your firm. And yes, you absolutely need to pay traders fast and be transparent. That's a given. But operations only fix the problem. Public relations fixes the perception, and perception is what traders actually act on.
This table breaks down the 2 main tools you've got. Advertising is basically just rented attention. You pay money for temporary eyeballs. Public relations, on the other hand, builds owned authority. Ads are shouting, hey, trade with us. Good PR communicates, we're already a trusted part of this community. See the difference? And in a market that's just drowning in skepticism, it's not even a contest. Authority will always beat attention. Attention is fleeting, but authority, that endures. Being seen as credible is infinitely more valuable than just being seen.
So what do the smart firms do differently? They don't just sit back and wait for trust to break. They build it before it's ever even tested. So let's look at the practical blueprint for using PR as your firm's greatest advantage.
They proactively build a fortress of trust. They publish real trader payouts, real stories. They work to get featured on respected platforms so that when someone Googles their brand, what do they see? Credibility, not a bunch of complaints. They actively control their own narrative, because if you don't, believe me, the market will define it for you. And the market is never kind. This is what PR really is. It's not just press releases and fluffy marketing talk. It is your reputation insurance. It's the engine that builds and protects your trust for the long haul. And honestly, it's the only scalable way to stay relevant in this industry. So I want to leave you with this one question. When you strip everything else away, all the features, all the platforms, in this industry, what is the actual battlefield? What are you really truly competing on?
And the answer is actually really simple. You are not competing on spreads. You're not competing on rules.
Those are just the table stakes to even play the game. You're competing on one thing and one thing only: trust. And the firms that get that, those are the only ones that are going to survive.